Introduction to Mist Maniac. The emergence of Mist Forest, which was as stable as Mount Tai's energy, was as broken jade. Make the already dilapidated chaotic world even more chaotic. Originally, ordinary office workers and grassroots villagers were forced to become crazy people under the misty forest. Chapter 1. Wei Xiaoke obtains the world's divine sword, the giant Lin Dragon Blade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the morning of August 18th, the sun was very bright today, feeling very comfortable. This kind of sun is most suitable for going out, and it has changed the haze weather of the previous few days. Wei Xiaoke's mood is also very good, simply did not expect the environment to be so good today. After washing up, Wei Xiaoke left his home and walked out of the Nongguan community where he had lived for years, preparing to go to school. As he walked through the familiar square, he found many familiar people on the road who often exercise in the morning. There was still Grandpa Tai Chi playing on time every day on the square, and he also brought a large group of elderly people to play Tai Chi with him, which felt quite professional. An old man's movements happened to be the opposite of those of the coach in front, and his gray-haired companion next to him sneered, "Everyone else looks good when they laugh, but you're different. You look very funny." There is a 3 or 4-year-old girl next to the road who has caught a cold and needs to drink very bitter medicine. She cries when she sees the medicine and doesn't drink it no matter how much she tries to coax her. "Do you want to drink it yourself, or do you want your dad to drink it?" Dad said helplessly. The little girl remained silent for a while before gritting her teeth and saying, "Poor." After walking forward for a while, I found a familiar vegetable market ahead. As soon as I entered the entrance of the market, I found it very lively and the population density was very high. 2 old acquaintances from 2 vegetable markets were arguing here. "What are you looking at?" Dragon Brother angrily said. "Look at you. When you speak ill of me, can you stop adding oil and vinegar? Do you think it's cooking?" Gu immediately called out with a large iron spatula. Longa pointed his brush at the black freckles on Gai's nose and glared angrily. "I went from having nothing to having assets worth over 100 million, from being a poor family to owning luxury cars and villas. These are not something I rely on anyone else, but entirely on myself, bit by bit, to come up with." Long Gu usually helps everyone write calligraphy and painting, and holding a pen is his job, so brushes are always carried with him. There are many familiar people selling vegetables here in this market, so Wei Xiaoke knows them all. Many of Wei Xiaoke met his brothers and aunts when he went to buy breakfast, and they were all very nice. When he saw Wei Xiaoke passing by, they all came over to say hello. "Good morning, Xiaoke. Our family Xiaoming joined the army today. It's a happy occasion," leaving 2 red eggs for Xiaoke. Wei Xiaoke took the egg from Uncle Wang's hand and smiled happily, saying, "Xiaoming is really amazing. He will join the army so soon, what good news." Looking at Uncle Wang's happy smile, Wei Xiaoke was genuinely happy. In the corner north of the market, Xiao Zhao and Xiao Li chatted enthusiastically, both of whom were cousins of the same family. Xiao Zhao. Come on, I'm on TV." Xiao Li. "Why are you crawling on TV when you have nothing to do? Hurry down and don't step on the TV." After leaving the vegetable market and passing a straight road, I found many buses and buses. The flow of people here was very high, and Wei Xiaoke began to cross the road seriously. Walking on the sidewalk, he felt that there were really many cars. When Wei Xiaoke was about to turn to the right, he noticed a very large truck suddenly speeding over and colliding with him. Due to the speed being too fast, it was difficult for the truck to brake, and it simply knocked Wei Xiaoke away. Wei Xiaoke was also very unhappy. He never expected such a big truck to come over, hit him, and was thrown out. The truck driver took a long time to stop, and he was also worried about it. He had been driving for 8 hours due to fatigue and didn't even rest in the parking area. In addition, his eyes were uncomfortable and he was crying heavily. His wife needs surgery these days, so he was eager to go back to see her, which led to a big accident. I really regret it. I'm stupid, am I? The driver exclaimed with a dull regret in his eyes. The driver quickly got off the car, wanting to see how the student who was hit by him was doing. As a result, Wei Xiaoke saw bloodstains all over the place and was knocked out along the dragged route, completely unaware the driver was just about to take out his phone and make a call to the police. At this moment, Wei Xiaoke suddenly noticed that the Xiaomi sports bracelet he was wearing on his right hand was emitting a very bright light. This light suddenly turned into countless starlights, surrounding Wei Xiaoke's body in this way. He felt the warmth of his whole body returning, and his heart was beating again. The lifeless aura from earlier had now returned to life. After covering his forehead, Wei Xiaoke found that his condition was very poor, with blood and water all over his body, feeling very bad. When this tragedy unfolded, he actually remembered a lyric. If I could still remember you in the next life, it must be because this life hasn't been thoroughly bumped into. Wei Xiaoke said loudly, "Driver, how are you driving a car? Fool, how could you be a fool?" The driver was also frightened and stopped in front of Wei Xiaoke. He also regretted it very much and wanted to discuss with the students how to compensate. After handling these matters, Wei Xiaoke returned home, took a shower, and looked at the bloodstains all over his body, feeling very helpless. The next morning, Wei Xiaoke found that his Xiaomi bracelet seemed to be different from before, with a slight sense of change. There was always a mysterious radiance surrounding the bracelet, which felt very weathered. Looking at the bracelet, Wei Xiaoke also felt a bit stunned. What exactly is the problem with the latest NFC Xiaomi bracelet? Yesterday's incident, Wei Xiaoke himself also felt very puzzled, and now he thinks of it with a very terrifying feeling. He simply doesn't believe it. Did he be saved by Xiaomi's bracelet? Wei Xiaoke's mind was filled with questions, and it felt like a fleeting illusion. Although his mind was full of questions, he did have to go to school to do some serious work today. Although he didn't have classes today, Wei Xiaoke made an appointment with the teacher in the arsenal to upgrade his weapons. Wei Xiaoke attended the Wuhan University, which is the most powerful university in this identity. Its name is Dragon Hall Wuhan University. For serious Wuhan universities, they usually use the most weapons. Today he made an appointment with a very famous arsenal teacher at this university. Usually, this teacher is very professional in handling and upgrading weapons for students. The big knife that Wei Xiaoke has been trying out recently is very old. This big knife has been with the cute and new Wei Xiaoke for 3 years. He has been using this big knife since he started learning martial arts. Due to his family's poverty, he can't afford expensive weapons anymore. For warriors, weapons are the form of life, so they are highly valued. Chapter 2. Lost Journey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wei Xiaoke is on his way to school, and he feels that he walked quite fast this time, much faster than usual. He feels like he has an endless sense of strength, which used to be a weak and mediocre body. This time, it's completely different. He feels like he has an endless amount of strength all over his body, and I don't know why. Due to the fact that his family was already very poor, he couldn't use the expensive weapons that the big shots love to use, so he could only use ordinary weapons. This time, Wei Xiaoke wanted to upgrade his weapon or exchange for a new one, but he couldn't find a suitable weapon, so he was very unhappy. However, he was powerless and could only hide it in his heart without saying it. He felt that doing big things should have calmness and not be in a hurry, so he didn't have anxiety. After walking for about 20 minutes, I found that there was a hazy weather ahead, and there was a place that looked like a forest in mist. But there was no misty forest in my memory at all, and it felt very strange. At this moment, Wei Xiaoke's Xiaomi bracelet was shining brightly, as if encountering a baby. It took several turns again, and Wei Xiaoke felt very bad. He seems to have gotten lost by himself. Originally, he didn't seem to be a road enthusiast, but for some reason, he easily got lost. He seemed to be shrouded in a misty forest, so he couldn't find the right direction, so it was easy to get lost. This fog is very special, and as soon as he enters, he is hallucinated. His brain doesn't remember anything, and he has no choice but to let it go. After walking for 12 minutes to a foggy wasteland, Wei Xiaoke noticed a transformed ant crying incessantly. After asking, he found out that the ant was burying his husband. Ants and elephants got married, but the elephant died within a few days. The ant was very sad and cried while burying the elephant, "Darling, why are you walking ahead of me? I don't have to do anything in my life, I'll bury you." Another pair of bitter lovers. Wei Xiaoke touched his tears. The misty wasteland is really a peculiar place, where many fantastic things have happened. At this moment, Wei Xiaoke noticed that the mother of the pink pony was beating her child with her fists. The pink pony complained that the food his mother cooked was not delicious, so his mother specially enrolled in a training class. A few months later, the mother of the pink pony used taekwondo to make the pink pony obediently eat. After walking forward for 6 minutes, I found a family of chubby pigs talking. Big Pig. Don't make friends with people in cities with temperatures below 40 degrees Celsius. Little Pig. Why? Big Pig. Not familiar. It was about half an hour's journey again, and Wei Xiaoke was very strange. He was injured by countless branches in the misty forest, and his whole body was covered in blood. Fortunately, he was a warrior, and his recovery was quite good. Wei Xiaoke gritted his teeth and went through many difficulties. In the end, both of his hands were injured and he felt very down and out. It seems that today is not suitable for him to come out. He didn't look at the almanac when going out. What bad luck! During his time in the misty forest, Wei Xiaoke was covered in injuries all over his body. His first reaction was to call his university professor Ho because it was too dangerous here. The teacher told him to look for him if there was danger, but he found that the phone couldn't be reached and there was no phone signal. It was really frustrating. Wei Xiaoke remembered the life essence he often used when he was injured, only to find out that he had forgotten to bring it. It was so pitiful. He usually carries spare weapons, but when he remembered that his spare weapon was in his spare backpack, he realized that he didn't bring it either. He came too hastily and didn't bring any spare weapons at all. It felt like everything was doomed. After walking for about 50 minutes, when he was finally feeling hopeless, he noticed a person on a rock who seemed to be picking herbs. He stopped and shouted loudly, "Hello. Where is this?" The person who was picking herbs looked very good, and he turned around and said, "This is the Phantom Mist Forest. It's the place where the Phantom God and Fairy King belong." Later I learned that this kind-hearted herb collector was called Nyonyo. Wei Xiaoke asked, "How can I leave this misty forest? I'm completely lost." Nyonyo felt very sympathetic when he saw Wei Xiaoke's injuries all over his body. He quickly said, "It's very easy to leave here. As long as you see a place with rocks, you can leave. Follow the rocks all the time, and don't pay attention to him in any other situation." Nyonyo saw the worn-out weapon in Wei Xiaoke's hand and said with heartache, "Are you here to upgrade your weapons? We have a very famous weapon library here, which is owned by the private blacksmith shop of the Phantom God King. Generally, it is not open to the public. I can take you to the weapon shop to upgrade your weapons." He followed the direction of the Bulbul's weapon shop. After walking for about 12 minutes, Yu finally arrived at the weapon shop by reading www.yuyukeangshu.net. This weapon shop is very mysterious. Nyonyo sincerely said, "This blacksmith shop is of a very advanced level, which is difficult for ordinary people to encounter. There are two great masters in the blacksmith shop, Nan Gu and Xiaoho Giant Eagle. They are the butlers of the king's blacksmith shop and are responsible for all the affairs of the blacksmith shop, which is very mysterious." Wei Xiaoke was stunned. Despite his injuries, his condition was very poor. But the harvest was too great, it felt like a world apart. Wei Xiaoke bought a very good big knife at the king's blacksmith shop. This big knife also has a name, called the dragon knife, which cuts iron like mud. In fact, Wei Xiaoke didn't even bring any money with him. When he entered the weapons store, he felt very nervous and powerless. However, he found that the butler of the weapons store, Xiahou Giant Eagle and Nange, actually said, "Those who are destined to get it don't need money." Finally, he carefully wrapped the divine knife in a package and took it away for Wei Xiaoke. When he left the misty forest, he felt a very dreamy taste. "I never imagined that I was seriously injured, but it felt like I had gained even more. It was simply that I had gained so much." After leaving the misty forest, Wei Xiaoke spent a lot of money looking for a fortune teller. He wanted to ask the fortune teller why this mission was so dangerous, and he felt like he had never encountered it before. The fortune teller told him, "Seeking good fortune and avoiding bad luck, how can one know good fortune? Seeing how honest you are, I will give you a free hanging." The divination about marriage. Remember, Wei Xiaoke has never had a girlfriend, and he is also very strange. The fortune teller said, "You are destined to have no women in the first half of your life." Wei Xiaoke's eyes lit up and he said, "What about the second half of his life?" "You'll get used to it in the second half of your life," said the fortune teller. Chapter 3. The Treasure of the Dragon Clan. The Wild Dragon 8 Kai treasure map shows that Wei Xiaoke can obtain map fragments. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. On September 12, today's weather was too bad to see the distance ahead. Wei Xiaoke was also very surprised why such bad weather was like this. It felt like his luck was really bad. After finishing brushing his teeth quickly, Wei Xiaoke left the corner of his residential area and went to have breakfast. He eats at this time every day. "I feel really unlucky today. Brushing my teeth resulted in bleeding. Although the warrior's body is very good, it feels unlucky to have their teeth bleeding. He doesn't seem to have such a bad feeling in his memory anymore. It wouldn't have happened like this. Now he's really unlucky in dying. He also feels very unlucky, it's just an unexpected feeling. Today, he is going to eat pig liver lambian noodles. In fact, he likes celery, pig liver lambian noodles with onions, which is delicious, the treasure of the world, and feels very good." When the boss of the lambian noodles shop saw Wei Xiaoke coming in, he would immediately prepare lambian noodles with pork liver. After all, he was a familiar customer, so it was very fast. With a large bowl of pig liver lambian noodles, Wei Xiaoke was very happy to eat it, and completely smoked it loudly. The boss pulled all the lambian noodles on the same day, so the taste is first-rate, and every mouthful is enjoyable. This old shop is Wei Xiaoke's favorite shop, and every time he comes, he eats very happily. After Wei Xiaoke finished eating the inside, he immediately made the payment. "Every time I finish eating pig liver lambian noodles, I feel so delicious. I never expected such a smooth feeling. It's a very different feeling." In fact, besides pork liver lambian noodles, he still likes beef. He remembered that he was going to the school task hall today, so he didn't dare to waste time. Wei Xiaoke walked out of the entrance of the community and walked along the straight street to the school. Surprisingly, there were many college students at the school entrance who were collecting students from the student union. Any of his classmates could join their favorite union. This union has a group, and they can team up to complete the school's tasks. The school will reward them and provide very good benefits. Wei Xiaoke remembered that he had not joined the school's union, so he found a senior with a good appearance. Then he walked up to the front and chatted with the senior, only to find out that the union's name was Big Knife Union. He remembered that he also used a big knife and joined the Big Knife Union. This good-looking senior saw that Wei Xiaoke also used a big knife and decisively signed. After all, he was a fellow disciple. We asked for each other's contact information and phone number. Entering the university gate, Wei Xiaoke walked along the direction of the task hall. He started running for fear of wasting time. The sky has always been shrouded in severe haze, feeling not only dark and humid, but also a dark and obscure atmosphere that always makes people feel uneasy, lonely, and anxious. Their noses can also smell the smell of mold, which is extremely uncomfortable. Wei Xiaoke is going to the task hall of the school today. After walking a lot of distance, he finally realized that the road today is different. A teacher named Yi, who understood divination, rubbed his hands and said calmly, "There is a strange phenomenon in the sky. There must be calamity. Everyone needs to find a way to solve the problem of calamity. I have calculated a Tai Chi and 8 trigrams hexagram for everyone, which shows that everyone must have a disaster of blood and light." Several female teachers beside him were scared and shook their heads, thinking to themselves, why have they been so unlucky lately? There was someone next to him who seemed to know Teacher Yi. He seemed to nod in agreement with what Teacher Yi had said, applauding loudly and exclaiming, "Teacher Yi is a righteous night wandering god, and he must have understood the various movements of divination." Wei Xiaoke, Coral, and domineering brother met up and arrived at the task hall with Teacher Zhao. Wei Xiaoke, who came to this task hall for the first time, felt a mysterious feeling filled here. He never expected such a mysterious first feeling, and he didn't understand it very much. Teacher Zhao enthusiastically explained that this task hall was actually built and reinforced by every generation of university presidents here, so it gives you a sense of mystery, strength, and atmosphere. The principals used many treasures to refine and forge this task hall, hoping to make it full of spirituality and charm. This mission hall feels very quaint and still looks very large. There are many dazzling colors around it, and it feels very mysterious. I never thought there would be such a good place. Teacher Zhao brought Wei Xiaoke and Coral to the task collection area on the second floor. Each road here is served by management teachers who are very professional in answering questions for everyone. Teacher Zhao walked to an empty place and started chatting with the caretaker in the task hall. He also received the task. It feels very smooth now. The administrator of the task hall signed a paper for Teacher Zhao and then handed him a brilliant jade plaque, which is the category of the task. The school has prepared a lot of new student tasks for Wei Xiaoke, which he needs to complete with his classmates. Wei Xiaoke saw that he had completed the task with his 2 classmates, Ba Dao Gun Shan Shan, and now it was time to complete the task. He received a task to go to the Longhua mountain village planting base. In fact, it is to obtain a new fragment of the map that Kwa Fu dropped. This map is a treasure map provided by heaven and earth. Legend has it that it was created by Yao Shen and went through 90.9 to 80.1 thousand disasters before being successful. It is extremely precious. So everyone really wants it now. Many big shots are trying to grab their heads and bleed blood. Little shrimp like him can only collect fragments at short distances from the periphery, but it is still much more difficult. Thinking about it, I'm so scared that I don't even want to come. After. Wei Xiaoke carefully checked the navigation high map on his phone and arrived at the range of map fragments. According to the requirements of the task, Teacher Zhao led the team. As the surrounding environment was too dangerous, the first thing he needed was to find a safe place to stop and rest. So he spent a long time finding a place surrounded by water and waited here. So Wei Xiaoke waited like this. He and Teacher Zhao stopped at a very high place. They felt that a higher place would be safer. Then it was discovered that there was a lot of big water flooding here, very suddenly, and then many confused mist appeared, making everyone's visibility not more than 12 meters away. The mist was really terrible. Chapter 4. Gains come with losses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They began to get lost again, and one of their classmates with glasses was invisible. Their eyes were filled with water vapor, like those of giant pandas surrounded by mist. Once again, we entered a transformed water mist area where we couldn't see anything outside except for the sound inside. The turtle is injured. Let the snail go buy medicine. 2 hours have passed. The snail has not returned yet. The turtle cursed anxiously and said, grass, if you don't come back, I'll die. Then a snail's voice came out of the door. His mother, I'm not going. Moving forward, I saw a more lively situation. One day, teacher Xiaoma visited Xiaoma's house, and his father quickly opened the door. Teacher Xiaoma introduced himself and said, my surname is Jin and my name is Jinnian. Dad Xiaoma quickly said, Teacher Pan, please come in. 12 minutes later, 4 crayfish were found playing mahjong. 4 people playing mahjong suddenly caught fire, and they didn't notice. The firefighter arrived and shouted inside, how many people are inside? At this moment, there happened to be someone playing cards. 40,000, the firefighter asked again. How many people have died? At this moment, another person played cards. 20,000, the firefighter was shocked and hurriedly asked, where are the remaining people? There was only a loud crash, followed by a scream. Burnt. Continuing forward, I discovered something strange. One day when karaoke returned, Old Ma got drunk and heard that he would tell the truth when he got drunk. So he asked, why do you have money in the future? Old Ma said, I want to marry 5 wives. I got angry and said, why don't you learn from Wei Xiaoke and marry 7? Old Ma said absent-mindedly, I'm too tired, I need a weekend off. I was completely caught off guard and couldn't have imagined such a result. The teacher was also very amazed. This place is always on land and looks very safe, but when the fog surrounds it, it becomes dangerous and the environment has completely changed. Wei Xiao used his new big knife and encountered many difficulties in the task area. His right hand was fractured, they encountered many magical baby spirits, whose attack power increased by 500 times, reaching a level of about 8, roughly the same level as the school elders. It's just that even the teacher can't beat this baby spirit, and it feels like everyone is about to give up. The domineering brother was even more miserable. His legs were broken, and Shan was injured and unconscious, feeling too bad. Finally, with the help of Dean Li, they were able to overcome the difficulties. They arrived at the place where Dean Li was guiding them, and they were all about to hang up. Hurry up and run away. There is actually a gatekeeper here. He is a former ancestor of the Southern Academy, with a semi-divine peak in strength. He is the Southern ancestor. In the end, he gave the fragments of the map to Wei Xiaoke and everyone, and the Southern ancestor used his own teleportation jade talisman to help them escape the danger here. A blue light cluster surrounds everyone, so everyone is safe to leave. Seeing everyone leave, the Southern ancestor also breathed a sigh of relief and instantly snapped his right thumb, transforming into a phantom and disappearing. After walking for about 50 minutes, the Southern ancestor himself arrived at a very peculiar place. This place is like a pond, surrounded by many big fish. These very healthy big fish look very healthy. The Southern ancestor came to the pond and sat down on a flat ground, looking very happy, with expressions similar to those of students and teachers. The big fish suddenly spoke up and said, South. Why do you want to save them? It feels like you're not on the same side as them. It feels like you're more kind, not on the same side as them. Do you think so? The Southern ancestor said loudly and happily, yes, they are also my students, just like I am also your student. After all, there are emotions, but I don't want to participate in what they do anymore. It feels different from my original intention. After all, they are not from the same era, and it feels different, so I can't go back. The big fish happily swam and continued leisurely, perhaps you are an illusion of rice, so you always carry kindness and compassion, so you are often used by others, but you still look very happy. Southern Daozu stroked the back of the big fish with his big hand and smiled happily, saying, Teacher still understands me. The big fish wagged its tail and swam happily. Dayuk gave the Southern ancestor many beautiful gemstones and shook his head, saying loudly, this is a magic dragon square stone. It's a gem spit out by a giant dragon, it's a very good thing. It used to be when I slaughtered many big shots, and they spit it out. Now they all give it to you. I feel like I don't need it anymore, but you need it even more. Don't despise me, I feel like you're more suitable for this gem. The southern ancestor said with a disdainful expression, this gem is a relic given to you by the gods. Yu reading www.uukangshu.net, what are you giving me? I can't even pick up such an important thing. My position is not enough, you can keep it for yourself, teacher. Yu laughed and said, didn't you really crave my things before? It used to be true love to give you every day, but now you're such an old man. It doesn't feel like you anymore. You used to tell me that you could get this thing just by kneeling down, but now it's very low. Key. I feel like you've changed a lot. The southern ancestor blinked his eyes and continued, I have never changed. What has changed is this world. When my parents were both killed, my heart just died. It feels like a lot of things have become simpler. I prefer my current self more. There is no conspiracy, no selfishness, no burden, no anxiety. This is also what you taught me. I only learned when I am old fish. Big Fish used his big tail to touch the student Nanfang ancestor he was familiar with before. He felt that he had changed a lot, but he was happy. The growth of students also represented the death of many things. What about the ignorant Nanfang ancestor, who likes to eat tomatoes on sticks? Losing is also losing. Suddenly, you didn't want to speak anymore. He had been in a good mood lately, but when he saw his rarely seen southern ancestor, he felt a heart-wrenching sadness. The big fish gently and simply patted the head of the southern ancestor with its big tail, just like when it first met him. Perhaps what remains unchanged is this momentary feeling, which should not change, even with the vicissitudes of life, the southern ancestor who was beaten and shouted loudly by himself. One day, Wei Xiaoke went home and told his companions that during lunch today, Teacher Zhao, who was a fortune teller, told me that there would be a big disaster when I was 125 years old. Unexpectedly, his companions replied, what's wrong? Your grave has been dug up. Chapter 5. Wei Xiaoke arrives at the Dragon Scale Steel Realm to obtain Dragon Fang defense armor. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Today is the 10th day of the new year, and it looks quite auspicious. January 10th, today is a bit different. Early this morning, Teacher Zhao from yesterday said in the student group, the students who completed the task together yesterday have to go to the Dragon Scale Boundary Monument to get a gift. This gift is an additional gift from the school leadership, so the task list was not written. Please be careful, the reward for this task is very precious. It's very good. Wei Xiaoke felt very happy when he saw the gift and immediately replied, thank you, Teacher Zhao. We will go back after class. Ba Daogu also laughed heartily and said, the school leaders have really opened their eyes. They are so grand. Ba Daogu is a fire master, speaking straightforwardly. Shanshan also gave a burst of laughter and said happily, thank you very much for the gift given by the school. The reward for this mission is already very good, and there is also an additional gift. It's really mouth-watering. Today, Wei Xiaoke wants to eat yellow braised chicken rice. He feels like he has rarely eaten this food lately. He used to eat a lot before, but after becoming a martial artist, he feels like he has forgotten about the taste of yellow braised chicken rice. He used to love this food the most, and he can eat it 8 times a week without getting tired of it. He walked through several bustling streets and finally found a very famous yellow braised chicken rice called Tea Tree Ancient Yellow Braised Chicken Rice. Every day, there was a big queue, and it felt very lively. He used to come here often. He entered the store and told the boss about what he wanted to eat and how spicy it was. He liked spicy food more, so he ordered a medium spicy one and felt very happy. The boss served the dishes very quickly and even gave him a dried tofu, which was braised and very sweet. It smelled very fragrant. About 8 minutes later, the yellow braised chicken rice was served, with many side dishes on it. It looked very nice and tasted very delicious. The color was also very good, and it felt great. It's so fragrant. Wei Xiaoke remembered when he used to eat this yellow braised chicken rice, and was excited. Now it seems like he really likes it, and it feels very delicious, just like what he remembered. After finishing the yellow braised chicken rice meal, Wei Xiaoke started paying the bill and felt very fragrant. It's been a long time since he enjoyed it so much. Leaving the yellow braised chicken rice shop, Wei Xiaoke began to seriously leave this bustling street. He remembered going to school to collect gifts due to the dragon scale steel boundary. When he was eating yellow braised chicken rice just now, he was browsing the school forum. Brother Ba Dao posted and said, "The school is really willing. It feels a bit impressive, like it." Shan Shan was also satisfied and said on the forum, "The school is not stingy at all this time. It's too powerful, it feels. Can we have more in the future?" Teacher Zhao also spoke up and said, "Thank you for the gift from the school. We will take the students to collect this reward later." The elder also responded on the forum, saying, "For you little monkeys, we are really in a miserable situation. We spent an extra year's budget preparing gifts for you, and it feels like our capital has been pasted clean." He seems to be the organizer of this gift. Principal Long also replied with a thumbs up. This time we started preparing a year ago, and the previous task rewards were not as abundant as before. In fact, the school also needs to consider many things for the school, and cannot be arbitrary. Every agreement passed is only approved by the principal and elders' votes. This time, the reward for Dragon Teeth Defense Armor was also unanimously approved by everyone. It seems that everyone is very happy. Principal Long smiled. Wei Xiaoke also followed suit and replied with a simple post. "Thank you to the school, thank you to the elders." The school's accountant Wei also posted a response. These expenses are also the highest in history, and surprisingly, they all exceed the rewards of the previous Phantom Treasure, ranking first. The accountant Wei also attached a picture, which looks like a table, with all the historical expense tables she used. Wei Xiaoke was really shocked. He didn't have such high hopes, but it turned out to be the first reward on the ranking list. I feel like I really want to immediately run to the Dragon Scale Steel World to receive rewards, and I'm even more looking forward to it. Wei Xiaoke checked the Dragon Fang defense armor and found that it is a genuine regular defense item. All the regular items are very precious and exceptional, and they were actually distributed to us. This is a hidden reward given by the school that was never present before. Very precious, no wonder Teacher Zhao said twice in a row, hoping that all students will take it seriously. This time, there are only such rewards for new students, which is very rare. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net, and they are all gifts given by elders. The more they are used, the less they are used. This Dragon Tooth defense armor is still a rule magic with its own defense power. Very impressive, much more powerful than ordinary props, no wonder everyone should take it seriously. The armor with its own defense rules is not much, and the school really gave benefits. Wei Xiaoke was also amazed. This time, the school spent a lot of money. After a period of trekking, Wei Xiaoke, Ba Dao Gu, and Shan Shan arrived at the Dragon Scale Steel Realm. This place, Wei Xiaoke only found out after checking the school's information, is where the ancestors of the school were buried after their death. Due to the dragon aura surrounding this place, it is already a treasure trove of feng shui and feels very good. The principal really knows how to choose a place. This treasure land surrounded by dragon aura has been used to enlarge the burial place of the family. It's really impressive, so every year the principal and elders reinforce this dragon scale boundary monument here. For so many years now, there has been an increasing amount of dragon energy here, and the mixed dragon energy is even more powerful. Everyone is also very happy that the school has such a precious land, so it is normal for many treasures to be generated nearby. It is understandable that sporadic treasures such as Dragon Fang defense armor appear in this dragon-scale steel realm. After all, it is a treasure trove. Teacher Zhao happily said, there are indeed many treasures around. The school's treasure exploration team often comes here to explore, and this is the first place to investigate. Due to the high position of the dragon-scale steel realm, it is surrounded by very powerful dragon illusion holy land, surrounded by a special force to deal with them. What was originally thought to be a simple reward has now become even more complex. This holy land of dragon transformation actually has a background. Chapter 6. Keep the Green Mountains unchanged, bring up old things again. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. It's a treasure left by the previous dragon Jazz, extremely precious, but its level is too high, just like the 8th level Peak Master. So it's very dangerous. The sunlight around the dragon illusion holy land kept them from approaching. There is a hallucination effect around, which makes everyone feel confused here. It's very strange inside. Xiaoma. I need to take a leave. Teacher. Reason. Xiaoma. I have surgery this afternoon. Teacher. What surgery? Pony. Group excision of useless accessory tissues in the human body. Teacher. Speak human language. Pony. A haircut. Teacher. Get out. After walking for about 12 minutes, I found that the front was very different. Grandpa Long was determined to have a grandson, but he didn't know that his son wouldn't be willing to give birth to an eldest daughter. Grandpa Long is so depressed. So he named himself Xiaote, who would have known that the second son was also a daughter, so he had to name and recruit again. The third child is still a daughter, and naming is still a trick. Lao Si is still a daughter. Grandpa Long knelt in front of the ancestral tablet and cried uncontrollably. After finishing his task, he named Lao Si his ultimate move walking forward within a range of 10 meters. I found it lively. Seeing two children around 5 years old playing chess at the door, I glanced at them and said, this little boy may still be able to play. The little girl is just walking aimlessly, where can an elephant get there? My neighbor looked at me and sighed, they understood the truth when they were 5 years old, but you don't understand it when you were 20.5. Do you know why you're single? As long as it approaches 1 meter, it will transform into an attack. Wei Xiaoke was wielding his big knife to chop at this transformed holy land, causing injuries all over his body. His right arm was fractured, blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth, his eyes were also very lifeless, and his limbs trembled. He originally thought he was here to receive the reward, but it turned out to be so dangerous. He felt like he had been deceived by Teacher Zhao and his team and shouldn't have come. Fortunately, he didn't forget to take the life essence this time, otherwise he really would have died. He took out his commonly used life essence and quickly took it down, only to find that his injury had recovered slightly, but it was still very uncomfortable, indicating that the injury was too severe. Brother Ba Dao was also injured even more severely, with his legs broken. He lay directly on a stretcher, with 2 medical staff carrying him. He kept coughing up blood. The domineering brother kept saying, I shouldn't have come. I was really deceived. You all like to bully our fire master. Shanshan was also severely injured, with no good part of her body. The injuries were all shattered, indicating that she was injured by the vibration of the dragon illusion holy land. Her back keeps dripping blood. Feeling even more miserable than the last time she completed the task, she began to doubt life. Did she come to the event to happily give gifts? Teacher Zhao is also seriously injured, with a fractured right arm and continuous bleeding. He has discovered a method to transform me into the holy land of dragon fantasy. But the level is too low, I am only a level 7 teacher, and the level of the dragon transformation holy land is at the peak of level 8, so I just feel like scratching my boots and can't touch the dragon transformation holy land. Finally, the dragon elder left with him. As the dragon elder was always a warrior with wooden attributes, he suffered the least harm from the dragon illusion holy land. Almost zero damage. At the center of the dragon transformation Holy Land, the energy is strongest. Wei Xiaoke was injured here, and everyone started to get seriously injured here, indicating that the destructive power is very strong. In the center, but the Dragon Elder was able to find 12 pieces of Dragon Fang defense armor for everyone with ease. The Dragon Elder perfectly cracked the strongest force in the center of the Dragon Transformation Holy Land. Is the Dragon Elder with wooden attributes really this bug? After distributing the Dragon Tooth defense armor to everyone, he took them to a safe place that had been prepared long ago, and then lit the Jade Dragon Teleportation Jade Talisman sent by the principal. This teleportation Jade Talisman was still hot, and he left with everyone who was about to despair. When Elder Long returned to school, he found that everyone was seriously injured, so he sent everyone to the medical room and made arrangements before leaving. Elder Long flew into the sky and left the school. After walking for about 12 minutes, he found a very large basketball court ahead. Elder Long stopped and arrived at the basketball court. There was a giant dragon playing basketball on the court, and the dragon's shots were very accurate. Elder Long lowered his head and kowtowed, whispering, "Teacher, I've come to see you. I've been dealing with things for the students lately." "You're late, don't be angry." Lao Long continued to shoot, this time it was a 3-point shot, still so accurate. Old Dragon turned around and sat down next to Elder Long. He patted Elder Long's back and loudly said, "I heard from the students that this time you used the ability of the wood attribute to deal with the Dragon Illusion Holy Land. Aren't you afraid of backlash? It's too dangerous there. It's too dangerous there, many students are seriously injured, and I'm afraid they'll all die, so I took the risk." Elder Long's right arm was also injured and bleeding, he said helplessly. Lao Long angrily said, "Don't be so dangerous every time, okay? You're so old. Can't you be low-key and safe? I know you hurt your students." Elder Long stopped speaking and lowered his head to listen attentively to the teacher's warning. At this moment, he was actually very happy, even though the teacher scolded him every time. Although he felt uncomfortable listening, he would come here every time to listen to the teacher's nagging. The teacher used to be the first guardian giant dragon of the Dragon Transformation Holy Land in the Dragon Scale Steel world, but he was so powerful. He was a big shot back then. Every time the teacher stirs up the long dragon wings, the world is shattered in shock. At that time, Long was old and young, and it felt like the sky was falling. The teacher was too imposing, and I felt that the one I admired the most was old Long. As he grew older, Teacher Dragon retired. He felt that his retirement life was still very happy, and finally he didn't have to deal with other things everywhere. He felt very relaxed, and it was actually a good thing. Persisting in playing basketball and chatting with my apprentice is also very good. Now watching his disciple grow up, he is also very happy. Every time they come, they chat very comfortably and feel great. They mock their former colleagues and curse their former enemies together. I feel like both of them are now much more relieved and relaxed, not so anxious anymore. When people relax, they always have a great understanding. Now they are very happy and have let go of a lot of resentment. They simply can't remember other bad things, so everyone has become so calm and innocent. Playing basketball every day is very good. The old dragon patted Elder Long's shoulder and looked at him with ease, laughing. Chapter 7. Wei Xiaoke enters Ancient Relics. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yesterday, a separate message was sent to the new students on the school app. The content of this message is very simple, asking them to go to the task hall to do a simple task. Why do you have to do this simple task? It feels so boring. How simple is it? Can you help the elderly cross the road? Asked the domineering brother in the class student group in confusion. Do you have intelligence, domineering brother? Help the elderly cross the road and see if the school has given it to you. Xia Ho Xiao Yu retorted in the group. Ling Meng replied in the group, it seems that the school is going to establish a task file system for new students. New students have never completed tasks before, so they need to initialize it. Fortunately, it's not a complicated task, otherwise we would be abused wherever we go, Shan agreed in the group. In the early morning, there was an argument in the group, and Wei Xiaoke was also very speechless. In fact, Wei Xiaoke also understands the meaning of the school. It seems that he needs to go to the task hall and take on all the initial tasks. Wei Xiaoke asked a passing classmate about the specific location of the task hall, and then followed the address provided by the classmate and walked southeast for 200 meters. In the end, he saw an independent building that was designed very well. The other buildings in the school all had the same color tone, but the color of this task hall was different, independent of other buildings, giving it a special sense of design and ancient atmosphere. Arriving at the entrance of the task hall, I found a bunch of classmates waiting there. It seems that I came a bit late. The classmates seemed to be whispering, all very worried about what tasks to assign. At this moment, a teacher wearing checkered clothes suddenly walked up to everyone and loudly said, "Hello everyone, I am Teacher Sun, the teacher in the task hall. Today, I will take you to establish an initial simple task. Please wait a moment, I will go and get the teleportation crystal. Only this crystal can be used for task teleportation." I saw Teacher Sun turn around and enter the task hall. After waiting for 10 minutes, Teacher Sun came out with a shiny crystal in his hand, shining brightly. The domineering brother blocked his eyes with his hand and said in surprise, "I almost lit up and went blind. Is it really normal for me to flash like this?" Teacher Sun explained in detail, the teleportation crystals all have their own energy bodies, so they shine brightly. Because the distance is far, if there is not enough energy, they cannot be teleported. Wei Xiaoke also felt uncomfortable in both eyes, so he turned his body to prevent his eyes from looking straight. Everyone followed Teacher Sun to the location of the school's teleportation array. It is said that only this place can be used for long-distance teleportation. Arriving at the front of the teleportation array, Wei Xiaoke noticed many teleportation arrays, which seemed to be a combination of countless energies. This momentum was truly magnificent and exaggerated, with a feeling of kneeling down to worship. Teacher Sun pointed to the teleportation array and explained to everyone, these teleportation arrays took 200 years to establish, and were all the result of the cooperation of the highest level principles in history. It took 200 years to forge them. Now, the strongest principle also solidifies and strengthens this array at a fixed time every year. That's why everyone looks so magnificent. Wei Xiaoke is a bit surprised, 200 years. The domineering brother also sighed and said, "No wonder the feeling here is immense pressure. It turns out that so many big shots are blessing here." Teacher Sun nodded proudly and then entered the central area of the huge array, saying to everyone, "Everyone, come to the side of the central area of the array, form a circle, don't run out, now we need to start teleportation." Everyone squeezed forward, afraid of falling out. At this moment, Teacher Sun took out the teleportation crystal in his hand and placed it inside the teleportation array. Suddenly, he heard a click sound and the teleportation array opened. The front formation lit up with a prompt text saying, "The teleportation of ancient relics has begun. I took the wrong crystal." Teacher Sun almost cried when he saw the prompt text. At this moment, Teacher Sun's hand trembled a bit and he muttered, "The highest level of ancient ruins, which our teacher usually dares not come to. It seems that the principal has entered a few times, and it is said that there is a random teleportation inside. Anyone who enters will be randomly teleported to different places. Due to the danger, the teacher dare not enter." "Did you take the wrong crystal?" Domineering brother felt like he was getting motion sickness and was about to vomit before driving. "Can we stop the formation?" Shanshan was also surprised and asked. Teacher Sun shook his head with a dull expression and replied, "Once the teleportation array is activated, it cannot stop." The students began to marvel, feeling a bit like a friar. The energy of the teleportation array began to quickly cover up, and the majestic force immediately enveloped the bodies of each student. The deep energy rushed into the sky, and immediately left with the students who still wanted to struggle. Wei Xiaoke also clenched his fist. Where are you going? Ancient ruins. Feeling a force pushing them forward together, and then reaching a point, the classmates began to disperse. Yu reading www.uukangshu.net must comply with the rules of ancient ruins. Everyone was separated by the energy, pushed to different angles, and launched, like a tadpole looking for its mother. These dispersed energies have started to decline again. It seems that they have reached the ancient ruins, and everyone has been sent down by the teleportation array. Then, like fireworks, people landed one after another on the earth. Teacher Sun awkwardly said in the air, it seems that the teleportation has been successful. Everyone has reached the ancient ruins. Teacher, is this a success? How do you feel like you shouldn't be here? The domineering brother was so nervous that he was about to cry, choking up and asking. Xiao Xiaoyu made a final struggle and loudly said, everyone's level is so low. There shouldn't be any problem coming to such a dangerous place, right? Wei Xiaoke also pinched his sweat and landed with everyone. Before everyone had time to communicate, they were forcibly separated and then assigned to different places. After a while, Wei Xiaoke landed alone on the ground and touched his hands and feet, feeling that there was no one dead. He was really worried for a long time. The teleportation of this formation is quite safe. It seems that it was indeed constructed by the principals for a long time. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible to land safely from such a long distance. There are still so many people to teleport, so no one will be injured. When constructing, there must be a lot of thinking. Wei Xiaoke walked forward and confirmed that it was a new place. The soil was completely different from before. The soil here was fresh and full of energy. There is always a strong energy rushing into one's feet, entering the body, and then when one uses this energy, they find that it can instantly merge with their body, indicating that the purity of the energy is very high and very suitable for cultivation. Chapter 8. Encountering a Big White Bear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Previously, classmates were searching everywhere for places with high energy purity for cultivation, which was called an energy-blessed land. If it was confirmed to be a blessed land, an ordinary land could be sold for over 3 million yuan. There are constantly wealthy people online competing for such land. Wei Xiaoke is really poor and cannot afford to buy a lucky land. As soon as Wei Xiaoke settled down, he felt like he was in the category of a top-tier paradise. The ancient ruins are a bit different. Wei Xiaoke began to examine this place, where even the teachers dared not come, and the principal dared to come. Thinking back to Teacher Sun's words, it turned out that the level here is so high, and the quality of the land is already a top-notch blessing. Just as I stepped in, I felt happiness rushing towards me. There is a feeling of rural people entering the city, where everything is fresh and they have never seen the world before. Whether to sit down and practice in the top-blessed land or wander around and see other places, Wei Xiaoke feels very conflicted. Why is she like her daughter.in.law today? Wei Xiaoke took out his phone and wanted to see if it could be used here. He was surprised to find that it could be used. It seems that this ancient relic does not reject phones. Take a look where all the classmates have gone, click on the class group chat, and find a bunch of classmates posting photos. Brother Badao posted a photo of a tall and majestic white wild bear. I'm next to this thing, isn't it very dangerous? Teacher Sun replied, hurry up and run. This is the most powerful creature in this ancient relic, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, with a semi-divine level. The principal is advancing towards this relic to attack it, which is very difficult to kill. It seems like it took half a month to kill it. Why did I come across it as soon as I came in and run for an hour? The domineering brother was about to cry, but he didn't even have time to cry, he said sorrowfully. Domineering brother. It's too hard for you. Your fate is a peach blossom. Hurry up and find a fortune teller to explain it to you. Xiao Xiaoyu said sympathetically. Shanshan quickly added, hurry up and run. This bear level is too high for us to face. I have also heard from my father that it is particularly difficult to deal with, and there are also many methods. The domineering brother looked conflicted and began to run away. This deadly rhythm required his legs to move first. He feels a bit dizzy. When others enter the ruins, they often encounter flowers and plants, with abundant spiritual energy and treasures on the ground. However, he himself encounters the ruins boss, who is still very close, about 10 meters away. He's running around now. Is the director there? Can I change the script? The experience is too bad. Originally a happy comedy content, it was turned into a thriller. After watching it, Wei Xiaoke was amazed. What luck is this? Can we run away? I saw the domineering brother running wildly, wanting to be worthy of his parents. It's not easy for them to support him, and he has to live without leaving the ruins. He goes all out, and his mind keeps cheering him on. He was also afraid that he would be frightened by the momentum of the wild bear overlord, so he ran wildly. Previously, domineering guys disliked sports the most. Whenever there were sports, he would consider his slightly overweight body unsuitable for exercise and then reject them all. Now it's like a powerful excavator running at full speed. Ling Meng panicked in the group and said, I've encountered a big lake, it seems difficult to get there. There's no boat prepared in the storage ring. Then she posted a photo of the lake. There are lakes all around, it feels very big. It seems that she is also in danger. The lake is surrounded by forests. Wei Xiaoke is also very dizzy, and every student encountered many dangers. I feel that this ancient relic is really a bit magical. He decided not to stay and wander around to feel at ease. Arriving at the nearby big tree, it seemed that only here was suitable for observing the terrain. When I climbed to the top of the tree, I realized that there was a large lake closest to me. Remember the picture that Ling Meng posted in the group, it's this place. Wei Xiaoke plans to find Ling Mengui and help each other by finding classmates on his own. After circling around the lake for half a circle, I finally found the place where Ling Meng was trapped. As I approached, I saw that Ling Meng was treating the wound on her arm. I came so quickly. I was originally hoping for help from my classmates, but I didn't expect you to come so soon. Thank you so much. Ling Meng looked up and saw Wei Xiaoke coming, feeling somewhat grateful. I was afraid of encountering danger, so I came to form a team with you. I didn't expect you to be right next to me. Look at how domineering brother was being chased, running around everywhere. Wei Xiaoke finally relaxed and began to feel much better. Ling Meng continued to clean up her wound and said sorrowfully, I've been trapped here by Teacher Sunday. I'm really dizzy. When I landed, I encountered a bunch of trees and sharp branches, which hurt me. Do you have any healing medicine? It seems like I'm not enough. Wei Xiaoke took out many bottles of advanced healing medicine from the storage ring and handed it to her. Ling Meng bit her teeth, placed healing medicine on the wound, and then wrapped it with tape to sew it up. The best strategy is to gather with classmates, come here, and huddle together for warmth. Seeing that Ling Meng had treated the wound, Wei Xiaoke finally calmed down. He planned to leave here and saw many trees nearby, with a high density. He wanted to use these branches to build a simple raft and oars, so that he could leave the lake with Raimu. Wei Xiaoke said to Ling Meng, you can rest here and recuperate. I will go to the nearby forest to build a raft and oars, and see if I can leave here. Ling Meng nodded and sat next to her to rest. She opened the student group with her phone and found new news inside. Brother Ba Dao posted a recent photo and said, I finally ran out. It took me 2 hours to run away. Oh, fortunately, I'm still alive. Shanshan also posted a picture and said, I am also trapped. There is a swamp next to me, and I can't move forward at all. It seems that many students are trapped here. I seem to have a smaller problem here. I encountered a bunch of low-level beasts besieging me, but there were a lot. I don't know if I can finish it, Xia Ho Xiaoyu said of his situation. Wei Xiaoke turned around and entered the forest, then chose some materials suitable for building rafts and oars. However, he found that there were still many good materials inside, and decisively started using them to build. It took about 2 hours to finally complete the construction. Wei Xiaoke nodded and confirmed that he could indeed get on the raft. He had tried it many times in the water and the safety was still very high. The two of them entered the raft, intending to go downstream. At this moment, they found that the water flow in the lake was very fast, driving them all the way forward. So, all the way downstream, I quickly left the lake. Afterwards, we arrived at a primitive forest with many grasslands nearby. Wei Xiaoke suddenly felt his stomach growling, and then remembered that he hadn't eaten for a long time. Chapter 9. Wei Xiaoke's participation in the ladder competition. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Last night, when everyone got up, they noticed that the school forum had posted a task to be topped. All students are required to participate in the task, and if it is their own task, it is not something that the school forum will talk about. For the old students of Wuhan University, they all understand this situation, that is, everyone should participate, and the forum is more suitable. This task is actually a previous one, which is to participate in the ladder list competition. Ba Dao Gu replied to the post below the forum, Heavenly Ladder Competition, it looks very good, great. Ba Dao Gu was the first to reply, and his speed was really fast. Shanshan also replied, I heard that the Heavenly Ladder Competition is very famous and has a long history. And it is combined with task points, it is really amazing. I can even participate. I am so happy. She replied with a very happy expression, feeling really good. Xiahou Yu replied, I like it. I've heard from an old man that this ladder competition is very impressive, and I feel really good. I heard that the rewards are very generous. I'm really greedy. He replied with a greedy expression, looking very tempted. Elder Hua quickly replied to the post, you all have fun. Our team has been preparing for a year, and we were driven crazy by the principal for the ladder race. He replied with a look of vomiting blood, feeling very unhappy. Wei, the accountant, also replied to his speech below the 5th row, actually, the busiest team should be our accounting team. Every time we are driven to work late by the ladder competition, she feels dizzy when she hears about it. Being busy is really deadly. Wei replied with a dizzy expression, feeling very unhappy. Wei Xiaoke finally replied to the post. Teachers have worked hard, this ladder competition is so exciting, happy. He replied with a happy expression. The ladder ranking is a very important competition that has existed since the establishment of the school. It has a very long history and is held once a year, so the content of the ranking is updated every year. It can be said that it is the top competition in the ranking of Wuhan University of Science and Technology, while other competitions are not as important anymore. Because this ladder chart is also associated with tasks in the task hall, it is very realistic and reliable. Not only do we need to include the score of the competition, but we also need to add the score of the tasks together. So the scores of the ladder competition are very complex and realistic, and the scoring system in the backend has been reviewed by Accountant Wei, which is very accurate. Other competitions are not as complex anymore. The competition process needs to be fully monitored by Accountant Wei, and afterwards it seems that all accountants are here to make the final judgment, which is very complex. So when Wei, the accountant at Tiandisai School, got very angry. He was too busy and couldn't even rest. It can be said that the top spot on the list is the same for all the teachers, because they are all busy with the competition. It seems that everyone attaches great importance to the ladder competition. After Teacher Zhao said in the student group, the school wants everyone to participate in the ranking competition of the ladder list. Everyone can register on their mobile phones, and registration is also very convenient. You can register with your ID card and university student ID. The domineering guy immediately replied, "You can register so quickly, I feel very happy." He made a happy expression and immediately registered on his phone. After seeing it, Shan also replied seriously, "I feel that mobile registration is really good. Don't queue up, it's still convenient to register on mobile. Just like it." Shan replied with a like expression, feeling very happy. Lingqiu also replied, looking very happy, saying, "The school has made a lot of progress again this time, it's really thoughtful." Lingqiu replied with a heartfelt expression. Xiahou Yu also planned to register this time, so she responded positively, saying, "The school is really thoughtful. The teachers and elders have worked hard, and Accountant Wei has worked even harder. It's great to have you all." Xiahou Yu replied with a happy smile. Wei Xiaoke, domineering brother, Shanshan, Lingqiu, and Xiahou Yu all opened their phones and actively signed up. Xiahou Yu also came to register. He hasn't been to school recently and has been on leave for a few days, so he didn't see him. After everyone completes their registration, an electronic spreadsheet will automatically appear on their mobile phones. This spreadsheet is very clear and contains detailed information about the students participating in the school competition, such as class names, grades, points table details, and so on. It is perfect. This is the form created by Accountant Wei, who has been staying up late lately. I feel that he has put a lot of effort into it. After completing the registration, it automatically becomes a form. I feel that the school has put a lot of effort into making this ladder list this time, and I feel very serious. Although Wei Xiaoke is participating for the first time, he feels that this ladder ranking is very real and can truly enhance his own strength. The next morning, on October 20th, it was almost the end of the month. Wei Xiaoke liked this time, but he actually quite liked it. It looked quite auspicious. After waking up early in the morning, Wei Xiaoke finished washing himself and was ready to leave the community. There were many cars emitting inside his community, which felt different. Wei Xiaoke wants to eat beef lammy noodles today. He feels very cold. Beef lammy noodles is more comfortable. Every time he eats beef lammy noodles, he eats a lot, and this time is no exception. He came to a beef lammy noodles restaurant that he often went to. There were many people queuing up in this lammy noodles restaurant. The density of people around was very high. It felt very unusual. Eating lammy noodles was Wei Xiaoke's favorite. When he came to a shop called Herring Lammy Noodles, he found that many people were in long queues. This shop has always had a long queue. This lammy noodles shop was previously recommended and recognized by Michelin restaurant. Yu read www.uukangshu.net, so there were many queues all day long. Wei Xiaoke asked his boss to prepare lammy noodles for him. He was going to prepare lammy noodles with a medium spicy tripe. I really like the spicy degree. Their lammy noodles is really delicious. No wonder there were many people, but the queue was a bit long. Why did you wait in line for 2 hours to eat during peak hours? Fortunately, it was on the weekend, otherwise it all went wrong. The boss soon put lammy noodles on the table. He felt very good. It was the taste of his love. He felt very good. He began to eat it. The boss's ingredients are indeed top-notch, and every detail is handled very well. Although Wu Wei is not a foodie, he found that this is indeed delicious, and every time he eats it, he is very happy. I haven't eaten this lammy noodles for a long time. I feel very good. I never thought it would taste so good. I still remember when I ate it. If Wei Xiaoke has a ranking list in his mind, this store must be the first beef lammy noodles. After about 20 minutes, he finally finished eating beef lammy noodles, and then settled the bill with the boss. He felt very good. It was still the taste in his memory, and he should continue to praise. Wei Xiaoke walked up to the road he used to walk on, and then followed this road. He felt that the school should be relatively fast. After walking for about 12 minutes, he found that the main road was still very fast. Today, there were not many people around. In the past, it was very crowded, and the people he met were very dense. After turning a few corners, I finally arrived at the school road and found that the road ahead was very smooth, and the school road was comfortable to walk on. Chapter 10. Difficulty in winning, full of injuries. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After walking for a while, he found the familiar school gate and finally arrived here. There was a very large dragon stopping at this place. The dragon looked very huge, very ancient and sharp. The color of the dragon was very beautiful. The principal stood next to the dragon, and he stroked it with both hands. I heard that this dragon is the principal's pet. It has been recovered for a long time and they are all very powerful dragons. The dragon seems to be at the pinnacle of dominance, so it was very difficult for the principal to recover it. It took about a year to recover this dragon, and it felt very difficult. It seems that the dragon is really powerful and not a match at all. After being recaptured, the giant dragon was still very obedient and loyal. He had been looking down at him in front of the principal, feeling very honest and obedient like a student. His appearance was quite cute. Shi Chun noticed several classmates waiting here under the dragon, including domineering brother, Shanshan, Lingqiu, and Xiaoyu. They were all very happy, all under the dragon. It seems that today we are going to take this dragon and leave for the competition on the ladder together. Result. They were all under the guidance of Teacher Hua, all sitting on the dragon flight and taking off as soon as possible. Wei Xiaoke felt that the air flow around him was changing rapidly, giving him a very comfortable feeling. It was probably because the dragon was flying very quietly and at high speed. Shanshan caressed the back of the dragon with her hand, feeling that it must be the pinnacle of its dominance. Otherwise, it wouldn't have flown so easily and quietly, which was truly eye-opening. The domineering brother thumbed up to the dragon and said, "You're really amazing, my brother." He was also very surprised and said. Lingqiu also joyfully lightly touched the wings of the dragon with her own hands, feeling a surge of electric current. Her right hand felt incredibly numb, as if the current was very high. It feels like lightning. Xiaoyu thrust his waist and nodded vigorously, loudly saying, "Big dragon baby, what's your name? Why can you be so excellent?" The rabbit speaker at Xiaoyu's feet suddenly burst out loud with music. "A person as excellent as me, who should have lived a brilliant life, how come after more than 20 years, they are still floating in the sea of people?" This dragon mount was recaptured by the new generation principal, and the dragon was originally wild and restless. It's very dangerous, it's simply difficult to control. Finally, the principal spent 2 years, using all violent and cunning means, to defeat this dragon. I feel that the principal is also very powerful. After the dragon was recaptured, it was very useful and obedient, feeling very cool. Sitting on this huge object, it felt very superior, and everywhere it went, it was full screen. Wei Xiaoke grabbed the wings of the dragon and felt that its speed was too fast, very elusive and unpredictable. He was really happy that as a new student, he could sit on this powerful dragon. It felt like his luck was exploding today. Finally, they arrived at the place on the ladder ranking list, which was very safe, as if it was a place where the dragon elder had transformed. Due to insufficient space in the school, we can only transform a very large place. The big shots love to transform, so stubborn. The competition is about to start, and the music tracks for the competition are playing on the radio. We are now taking the whole team into the venue. Wei Xiaoke looked around for a week and found that the field here was really huge, about the size of 8 basketball courts. It felt like the school was really big-handed, the field was so domineering. Looking ahead, I noticed that there were many small venues inside the venue, each of which was composed of white and black lines. The lines were very beautiful and had a strong sense of design. Brother Ba Daoan noticed that there were many people on the podium who were quite familiar, including the current principal, Elder Long, Accountant Wei, and the reviewing teacher, Teacher Zheng. As the oldest teacher in the school, it is understandable to be on the podium. After about 15 minutes, the game is about to start. The background music has also been turned off, and Teacher Zheng loudly said, "Today our school's ladder competition is about to be held. In order to ensure a smooth competition for everyone, please maintain discipline and rules, so that we can better succeed in the competition. I wish everyone all the best and start the ladder competition." Everyone has started to compete in groups, and it feels very cruel. Wei Xiaoke also saw on his table that there was a competition object, and his opponent seemed to be from the Dragon Scale 2nd class, Flower Drum Tower. I heard that Hua Golu is good at using long swords and is a very powerful swordsman. Swordsmen are very difficult to deal with, always with a tenacious will, very strong. Wei Xiaoke is good at using his own big knife, and it feels like he has a headache when he hits some of them. Wei Xiaoke and Huagu Tower have both entered the competition venue. As soon as they entered, they bowed together under the arrangement of Teacher An and stood up straight. Teacher An explained the rules of the competition clearly and concisely. After about 12 minutes, Wei Xiaoke and Hua Golu both started the competition under the guidance of Teacher An. Wei Xiaoke took the initiative and swiftly took 3 steps to chop with his big knife. Before the Flower Drum Tower could react, he jumped up with his big knife's horizontal center of gravity. It turned out that Wei Xiaoke was using virtual moves to scare the opponent, and the subsequent moves were truly powerful attacks. The Flower Drum Tower reacted very quickly, truly a formidable swordsman, with a sharp sense of swordsmanship. In an instant it avoided Wei Xiaoke's attack, then launched a backward jump shot, and used its fierce sword to fiercely attack Wei Xiaoke, with sharp and vicious movements. Wei Xiaoke didn't expect the other party to easily investigate his own cunning, he simply didn't expect it. He immediately took 3 steps back, as if showing weakness, then jumped up and chopped at the opponent with a big knife. Due to the extremely sharp angle of the chopping, it was the visual blind spot of the Flower Drum Tower. Therefore, it was very easy to chop and cut to the corner of the right arm of the Flower Drum Tower. The Flower Drum Tower was injured and was hacked by Wei Xiaoke. He retreated in a row, and then his wild sword resisted Wei Xiaoke's wild knife strike, feeling very uncomfortable. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net. When Wei Xiaoke continued to use his big knife to chop down the arm of the Flower Drum Tower, he was about to continue pursuing him. Taking advantage of the fact that people were dying from illness, he continued to use his big knife crazily to chop. Unexpectedly, the strong willpower of the Flower Drum Tower suddenly appeared, causing the injuries to continue. Then, it suddenly flipped over and stabbed Wei Xiaoke's right leg with a sword. Due to Wei Xiaoke's constant pursuit, he didn't even think about defense, so he was easily stabbed and felt very unlucky, quickly reversing. Wei Xiaoke also suffered a serious injury to his right leg and kept vomiting blood. At this important moment, the Xiaomi bracelet in Wei Xiaoke's hand lit up, and suddenly Wei Xiaoke felt a technique. The desperate bloodthirsty blade technique. Transmitted from the Xiaomi bracelet. After about 12 minutes, Wei Xiaoke felt like he had used his deadly bloodthirsty sword. This sword technique had no other advantages, but it was very time-consuming. He had to sacrifice his own essence and blood, and then let his energy explode with a force of 500 times to chop. The other party is too strong, they are not opponents at all. They have many dreams at night, and if they don't work hard, they will die. Wei Xiao could use his last strength to strike down with a magnificent knife from the sky. The Flower Drum Tower discovered such a powerful slash and wanted to avoid it, but it was no longer an opponent. With a single strike, he used his sword to block it with all his might, but there was nothing he could do. Finally, he was chopped down to the ground with a large knife, and the bloodstains extended all the way underground. Shi Chun spat out a mouthful of blood, almost unable to stand, feeling like he was about to die. The condition is very bad. After about a few competitions, Wei Xiaoke finally won the championship with difficulty. The result of the competition was very cruel. The new ladder ranking list came out. After the competition, Wei Xiaoke came out as the first place, Shan Shan as the second place, and Ba Dao Gu as the third place. Fourth place Xiahou Yu.